All right. That was easy, wasn't it? Whew, trying to get live. Can you guys give me a thumbs up to know that you can see the presentation, you can hear me? Oh, beautiful. All right. Thanks for your patience. Little difficulty backstage. Let's start with a story. Some what-if monsters like to hang out and fill up our heads with worry and doubt. They are sneaky and quiet and quick as a blink. The words that they whisper can change how we think. Jonathan James heard those words full of dread, and all of those what-ifs got stuck in his head. What if you tumble? What if there's wind? What if you slip and your knee gets all skinned? What if they giggle? What if it's chilly? What if you jump and look all silly? What if it's hard? What if it's bad? What if they laugh and you feel sad? What if it's ugly? Whew, what if it stinks? What if that's what everyone thinks? What if it's yucky? What if it's icky? What if mom yells because you're too picky? What if it's dark? What if it's scary? What if there's something giant and hairy? What if I lose? What if I'm last? What if I'm slow and never get fast? What if she laughs? What if she runs? What if she thinks you're not any fun? Welcome to this session. A little bit different than what we've been seeing. This is about embracing the adventure. Retirement out, transition in. This is about talking about the emotional side of that transition. You all are experts. You all understand your side of the business. Okay? Let's take a look at the other side, the emotional side, the head and the heart. All right, let's see if we can get this to trend. Well, hang in there. We're having some technology issues. All right, so this is me. I'm Krista Morrissey. I own Choices Coaching and Consulting. I'm a life and leader coach. I'm an organization development specialist. I've authored a couple chapters in some best-selling books. But at the root of me, I'm a farmer and I'm an athlete. I am no different than those that you serve. Okay. So I want to answer this question. Two questions that I always get asked. I've heard numerous of the presenters talk about coaching and having coaching and business coaches, but what's a life and leader coach? So people say, Krista, how do I need a coach? And I say boredom, alignment, and hunger. You wake up one day, you're just a little bored with life. So you get busy. You add something at work, you volunteer in the community, feels good. Then you wake up one day and you're a little out of alignment. Some people say it's out of balance. It's like wearing two left shoes. Here's where the stories start, because we can't work ourselves out of this. We tell ourselves, I'm the breadwinner. I carry the benefits. I went to 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8 years of college. All my friends say, wow, you got the best job ever. And you just keep telling yourself stories till one sticks and you go, that's good. But it's just sitting underneath festering. Then you wake up one day and you're hungry. You go to work, you're hungry. You go to bed tonight, you're hungry. You wake up tomorrow, you're hungry. And it is a soulful, passionate hunger to be doing something that aligns with who you are and why you're here. Okay. So then the very next question that rolls off their tongue is, what does a life and leader coach do for me, Krista? Well, here's the deal. I'll be your fog light in your mirror. When we are in the muck of life, when your clients are making that decision about how do we get ready for what's next, the emotions fog everything. I'll shine the fog light out there and say, hey, take a look. Look what's here. I'll be the mirror, because self-reflection is critical. We all know about the judgment-free space. I want you to show up you. It's about mind, body, spirit, emotions. It's the whole you, and we partner on the journey. But here's what's been fun. I have found out the most powerful thing I can do for my clients is I ask questions from the outside so they can answer them from the inside. So we've been talking about our stories. How did I get here? Well, I have done business in 19 states. I've worked in 10 countries, 24 industries. My clients are 13 years old to 74. I've been tossed out of 4 facilities. I was downsized after 29 years. Woo! Okay, so what? What's that mean? Well, that's the business side. Okay? I had to transition into what was next because I was downsized. Okay? So the story goes, 29 years at the same company, wonderful journey. Somewhere around 2008, I just got that boredom. I was wondering what the company could give me to keep me interested, keep my attention for more than 3 to 4 months. So a friend says, hey, why don't you go get your master's? I went, what? I'm going to go spend, $13,000, $15,000 to once again understand I'm a C student. Well, I chose Alverno College. It's competencies based so that I could learn to apply what was there. And I came out of this and the universe was pulling me in a different direction. I'm back at work. Things are going well, but I can't get comfortable. So I decided June 11th of 2014, I was leaving the company. I pick up my 5th grader from school, spend the summer with him. So I decided that at Christmas of 2013. January 23rd, 12:36 p.m., the company said, hey, yeah, I think we're done. And I immediately opened my backpack, handed my laptop, my cord, flash drives, external hard drives, pens, everything I had. And I felt 50 pounds lighter. They made a decision for me that I couldn't do. Okay. So that's a journey to how I got starting my business. Now let's talk about who's behind the business. Okay. I've heard great stories. Well, I don't know if I have any. I went to bed until 5th grade. I showed Holstein yearlings in 4-H for 5 years. I played sports for 28 years. I'm a farmer. I've castrated over 500 pigs. I've assisted in the birth of calves, goats, kittens, pigs. I've assisted in surgery on a full-grown cow that just had a calf that had a twisted stomach. 46 feet of intestines, my arms are under it. I've birthed and raised 3 boys. I've heard story after story of individuals saying to me, look, that's not that big of a deal. And how does this have anything to do with what's next in my journey? And then we get nervous and we sit down and we stick. Hey, we got an Alverno grad. Nice. So financial planners, insurance bankers, please know, anyone in the world, there's only 2 accounts we're ever going to fill. Our bank account and our soul account. And just about every person I've met can tell me within $10 where their bank account is. Not many can tell me where their soul account is. Would you go to bed tonight with your cell phone saying 3% power and just say, I'll deal with it in the morning? No, you would not. You would get out of bed and plug it in. Yet we go day after day, week after week without plugging ourselves in, without worrying about our soul account. Okay. All right, so tell me, those of you that are here, why are you in this session today? I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a banker. I'm not an insurance person. Why are you here today? Throw that into chat. Some energy, some oxygen. How to transition without judgment. That's a great one. The biggest judger is right here. Now, how do you transition without judgment? All right, so let's rock and roll here. Where are we going today? I'm going to talk about the facts and figures on retirement, about your halftime, about soul searching, about designing the second half. And it's something that you all need to be very aware of in your industry. Okay? We don't have a used up date on us. Don't have one. Okay? We're not used up. It used to be that 62 was that ultimate finish line. We called it success or failure. If you retired or transitioned before 62, the sooner you did it, the more successful you were. And the longer it took up afterwards, the more of a failure you were. So they did a survey for retirees on how are you doing? And the number one answer was, I'm keeping busy. Keeping busy. Then they said, look at this, 41% of retirees report retirement was a difficult transition. Only 23% of parents said parenting was a difficult transition, and only 12% of newlyweds said transitioning from newlyweds, single to being married, was difficult. Look at that, 41% of retirees. So we know we've got something here. So a couple years ago, a friend of mine said, hey, could you put together a program that would help individuals transition? Because here it is, money's only part of the equation. We need to transition on purpose and with a purpose. So that means keep a meaningful pursuit at the core. Challenge your mind, your body, your spirit. Refuse to be defined by age, and keep an eye on your attitude instrument. Where is that? I'm keeping an eye on the messages here. All right, so we all worked for someone before that gave us a paycheck, and we couldn't wait to break those handcuffs, those constraints, to say, when I have freedom, here's what I'm going to do. Well, what I see when people get closer and closer to a transition, they're trying to retie that knot. They're trying to get it to go back together because they're afraid. They don't know what's next. They have blurred the lines between what they do and who they are. So I want to be clear, what you do is not who you are. It is how you bring your gifts to the world. So what you do is the vehicle for how you bring your gifts to the world, but it does not define who you are. You have to be, when you walk from something, you have to be purposely walking to something. Okay. So mindset is a big one, and many people have seen this, but it is really good to talk about because we get in our heads. You know, Carol Dweck did this study, and the fixed mindset is all about, I'm either good or I'm not. If I fail, well, that's it. I don't want to be challenged because I might not come up to the challenge. If you're successful, I'm intimidated. You have to tell me I'm good. That mindset coming into a transition, what people call retirement, transitioning into what's next, that's not healthy. The growth mindset is where it's at, where you say, I can do anything I want. When I'm frustrated, I persevere. When you succeed, I get excited because I know there's someplace new I can go. You just tell me about something and I'll try hard. And my effort and attitude determine everything. Okay. So let's take a look at the definition of rich. If money has no value in and of itself, then how do we define rich? This is a question that stops people in their tracks. So I grew up on a farm in mid-state Illinois, first generation to go to college, well, graduate college. It was not until my junior year of college that I realized, man, we aren't rich. My parents had no insurance. Nobody would insure farmers back then. They paid everything out of pocket. That just blew my mind. My parents would sell an entire truckload of grain at the end of every January to bring in enough income to keep us through the winter until money came in with crops and baling hay and selling cattle. So how do you and how do your clients define rich? Because it's beyond the paycheck. And we heard Whitney talk about that. It is more than just a paycheck. Okay, keeping an eye on your chats here. Yeah, well, you're right, Tiffany. Profound to know the difference. So here's where we're going to go in this program that I offer is you got to clarify who you are, identify where you are, determine what you want, design it, and then create it. Now, this is not rocket science, but we don't go here with ourselves. We don't go deep. That's why I have a job as a coach. As adults, we won't make sustainable change on our own. We need some assistance. And we also heard Whitney talk about that. the power of coaching. So I get often asked to speak about relationship management. And I say, well, hold on. I'm going to speak about the first relationship you need to manage, and that is a relationship with yourself. I'm not going to talk about relationships with others because we got to have that relationship with ourselves. Okay. So let's talk about halftime. If you're not into sports, you're into music and drama, it's intermission. Halftime does not always happen in the middle of our life. Halftime happens when we are ready for a transition, or the universe says it's time to transition. Okay. The first half of our life is a me focus. It's an inward focus, and it's meant to be. I grow up. I get a degree. I get a job. I get a car. I get an apartment. I get a bigger job. I get a bigger car. I get a house. I get married. I have children. I get a bigger job. I get a van for all my kids, and blah, 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 blah. We keep going. It's me. It's about being successful. Somewhere along the line, the world will stop you and say, okay, what now are you going to do with all the gifts that you've been given? And that's halftime. And what do sports teams do in halftime? They stop and say, okay, we had a game plan. How did it work in the first half? What should we keep going and carry to the second half? What do we need to replace? And then they get ready for the second half. Music, drama, theater, and intermission, they take a break and change out the sets, but they're talking. Hey, how are we doing? Are we loud enough? Are we in sync? What do we need to do for after intermission? And we roll into the second half of our life wanting to live a life of significance. And here's where all of you are important. You are working with your clients to be health, financially set, getting ready for that day where they can break that rope and be free. What is significance for them? Most don't stop and think. We dream about it at lunch at work with our friends, sitting in the bar afterwards saying, hey, when I retire or when I step into what's next. We know what we want on a surface level. The closer we get to a life of significance, the scarier it gets, because we have blurred the line between who we are and what we do. And there's a great story here. Well, not great. I think it's great. It's about me. And the tide started turning for me when the company I work for acquired a company 3 times our size. I was asked to be part of the road show, to go around to other key facilities and talk to their leadership team about who we are and what we do. And I had 45 minutes. And the gentleman before me made this comment when he introduced me. He started out really good. He said, hey, I got a treat for you. Krista Morrissey's talking next. She's going to bring energy, humor. You're going to love her. And she is the best printer I've ever known. As soon as he said printer, it was like a sucker punch. I worked inside of a printing company, but I did organization development work. I drove change. I did coaching. I was really involved in our education portion, which was intra and interpersonal skills. It was about being the leader that you could be. And he just demeaned me to a printer, and it made me angry. And I think I needed that. That was part of the stepping stone. There's got to be something next. I need to do something of significance. I need to be living out my why and my purpose that you've heard so much about yesterday and today. And that is part of our role with clients, is helping them live out their passion, their purpose, significance. I'd like you to answer this question. If my life were absolutely perfect, what would its elements be? Throw them into the message, into the chat. If my life were absolutely perfect, what would its elements be? Let's see who's brave enough here to do this. Oh, family, fun, beach. Keep them going. Let's see, what else are they? Purpose. Yep. It's different for everybody. but we don't ever stop long enough to say, what would the elements be? This has come up multiple times, and I love it. I'm so happy to see so many women talking about Simon Sinek's Golden Circle. Oh, yeah, Christy, freedom to create epic moments. Perfect. So the Golden Circle, your why. I believe that we are put on this earth on purpose, with a purpose, and we're supposed to live out that purpose. So what is mine? Okay. My purpose is to improve the world one person at a time by helping them become a better version of who they are. It's not sexy. It's not long, but it hits me in the core. And every day I show up saying, how can I make individuals a better version of who they are? When clients are getting close to that transition, I don't care if it's 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, we need to be helping them with this transition, getting down to their why. What do they want to go after? So you think about first half of life, second half. It's all about what have I achieved? And then the second half, what do I care about deeply? And I want to share a story here about what I care about deeply. One of these sessions had a gentleman who was in the trades. He had been a pipe fitter or a sprinkler head fitter, one of the two, for years. And I asked, he sat in the front row and he just kept shaking his head. And I was wondering why he came. And he was just angry. So finally I said, what's up? And he goes, I'm never going to be able to do anything other than what I'm doing. He goes, I don't have skills to do anything else. I asked him to give me the top 5 skills that he uses every week in his job. I listed them on a flip chart. Then I said, what do you aspire to do? What is your life of significance? Without hesitation, he says, I want to lead a crew for Habitat for Humanity. I go, awesome. First skill, tell me where this fits in leading a crew for Habitat for Humanity. He goes, I don't know. I leaned in, I said, hey, may I ask the group? He goes, sure. So I said to the group, where does this skill fit for Habitat for Humanity? They named it. I go, how about the second one? He didn't know, so I asked the group. They named it. Third one, he goes, okay, I got this one. He goes, I get what you're doing. I'm good. I go, no, we're doing them all. The fourth one and the fifth one. The key is what we learn as we're getting this life of success and we want to go into a life of significance, that transition to what's next, our skills are transferable. They may not call them the same thing. They may not look and sound the same, but they're transferable. Okay. So I talk a lot about the first half of our life is just full of noise, and we often feel trapped because we're not doing exactly what we want to do, but it's paying the bills. So here is the first set of questions I ask when individuals are at this session. And we stay kind of high level. And when couples are there, I have them answer these individually. On Sunday evening, how do you feel about Monday morning? Am I contributing at work or in my community? What makes me feel trapped? What is my energy level at the end of the day? What's your energy level on Friday? How often do I find myself dreaming about a different work or life? So I'm going to ask you, throw in the chat, please. Which one of these questions caught your attention that made you stop for a moment? Throw it in there. I'm very curious. Which one of these questions? Okay, hold on. Let me find it. Got to scroll here. Oh, on Sunday. Tony, how do I feel about Monday? Yeah, that was my biggest one because I traveled a lot. So I was packing on Sunday evenings. Feel trapped. That's a suffocating place to be. Okay, so keep them coming. So imagine you offer this to individuals. They answer this series of questions, makes them start thinking. Then we talk a little bit. And I talk about the mistakes we make, especially in the first half, as we ignore The voice is telling us to stop and listen. I sure did. I thought I was going to be a lifer at this printer. I thought that's where I should have been. But instead, we kind of sleepwalk through, maybe until retirement or these false goals. You guys, I was sleepwalking for 18 months. I have this thing called loyalty. So I didn't know how to say, I want to move on. And I didn't know how to design what was next for me. But I just knew my soul account was draining more every day, and it was almost empty. I was sleepwalking and getting paid for it. We have to make peace. Often before we transition, we have regrets that haunt us from the first half of our life. And they drain our mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual energy tanks. Don't have regrets. Every single thing about your journey is important. It's part of who you are. Okay? We need to take time. Okay? We don't take time in the first half. We don't take enough time. We don't take time for things that are important or things that matter. And sometimes it takes months, even years for us to get over that. And you're going to hear that from your clients. So now I bring them the next set of questions. Now be honest with yourself. What am I missing in my life right now that's important to me? What excites me and fuels my passion? What do I value? What would I be willing to take, would I be willing to take a less stressful, lower paying job to be happier, to be closer to myself and to those I love? All right, let's do it again. Throw into chat. Which of these 4 questions made you go, whoa, caught your attention? Because now I'm asking individuals to go below the surface. All right, let's see what you've got here. What am I missing in my life right now that's important? It's a great one. Great one. There's another one. What am I missing in my life right now that's important? This is an exciting one. Most often individuals aren't able to answer what fuels my passion because they don't know what their passion is. They don't know what they value for sure. Many say, yeah, I'd be willing to take a lower paying job. Yeah. Okay. So halftime, it's about being honest. Okay. You can fool yourself all your life if you want. But the first half, most of the time we've had to be someone else. And we become someone else because of the role we play. So in halftime, it's not about fantasizing. It's not about daydreaming. It's about answering these questions at the gut level. You know, what is actually here for me? Okay. So imagine if at this point, your clients have gone through this and they're planning for the future. Their bank account, you are helping them fill their bank account, their retirement account, their investment account. What about their soul? The two together help them take that leap into the transition. So now we get down and dirty into these questions. And understand, you're getting an abbreviated version today. We spend a lot of time talking in between, but now be deliberate. What gifts has God given you that have been perfected over time? What gifts has God given me that I've been unable to use, or I use them minimally? What realistic changes can I make in my employment or in my situation? What steps do I need to take tomorrow to have a second half that is better than my first half? Okay, so you know the routine. What is the question here that was a pow for you? Well, Cindy Bong, you are right. Clients love to take planning to this level, and I know you're one of those individuals that goes there with your clients. And that is so important because they may not be saying it, but they're really scared inside. Yeah, they really do. They really, really do. All right, so which question here was a pow for you? Who's willing to say? Oh, yes. Okay. What gifts has God given me? Oh, what gifts have been perfecting over time? Yeah. And what do I really want to do tomorrow? And it's hard to think in this session today, so you can imagine. So here's what happens is our body has 3 brains. We know the heart. As the heart goes, the body goes. So the heart is our regulator. Okay? But our head brain, it connects to the outer world. It's about logic. It's about making sense. That's where we are when we're financially being responsible. We're making a connection. We're being linear and logical. The head brain talks to the heart brain, which is all about connecting the emotions, the empathy, the memory, the dreams. Then the heart brain and the gut brain. The gut brain is about unself-consciousness, that intuition, that sixth sense. And the gut and the heart brain talk more than either of them do with the head brain. The gut brain makes the decisions, but the heart and the gut brain can freeze us. And if clients are only in their head, only logic and linear, and fiscally responsible, and look at their financials, they're here. They're not hearing the heart, they're not hearing the gut. And they are critical brains in the transition from what they've been doing for years to what's next. Okay. I stole this from a person that said this in one of the sessions. They said, oh, if I can dream it. Actually, she said it to her husband. If you can dream it, you'll see it. If you see it, you'll build it, honey. And if you'll build it, you'll live it. So here's how we go about designing this. Those 3 series of questions, get them thinking. And then we're going to design it and live it. They put themselves in the center. And they just start filling bubbles with areas of their life, aspects of their life that are important to them. Okay. Now, if you notice, if you're logical and linear on here, you're like, why aren't those connected? Because they're envisioning, they're dreaming, they're using the heart and the gut brain right now. Now comes the logical part. Now they connect them to themselves. And they say, these are all the things that are important in my life going forward. Important in my life going forward. Now I have them go at a deeper level, define each one. Okay. And I'm going to have a little trouble here because we had technology difficulties, so I can't blow this up. But these are just some things I put on there. Fulfilled. As I define this, I have no regrets. I live authentically. I am spiritually aligned. I am contributing with my gifts. Growth for me. I educate myself on 2 topics a year. I continue to learn from my clients and my peers, and I read weekly. So by individuals defining these, it anchors them in what they want to do. And so then when they're all defined, we say, what do you want to do now? And you identify a few things that you want to do right now and that you can do right now. So imagine you've got this mind map and they identify what comes next. Okay. So remember, abbreviated version of this, but money is only part of the equation. Okay. You have to transition on purpose with a purpose. Okay. Remember, I'm more than a printer. There's a whole lot more to me. I worked in the printing industry. That was a vehicle in which I brought my gifts to the world. As an organization development specialist, I was all over the United States. I was all over Latin America, dealing with change, dealing with culture, dealing with painful processes. As a coach, I was all over the world, coaching up-and-coming leaders, coaching executives. And as a public speaker, I would go anywhere I speak on topics. I wasn't just a printer. And when I made the transition, even though it was kind of made for me, I was already there on purpose I knew where I was going. We need to help our clients know where they're going. They will freeze. There is comfort in the discomfort of the now. Okay? And you've heard them say, when the discomfort of where you're at becomes greater than the discomfort of going there, then you'll make a change. They won't make a change on their own. It is proven with adults. We don't make change on our own. We need help. So I started with this book. Let's end with it. Now, wait just a minute. I have something to say. After hearing what ifs all through the day, I hear all your worries. I hear all your claims. But what if you're wrong? Asked Jonathan James. What if I climb to the top of the tree and I never slip or skin up my knee? And what if I jump right into the pool and everyone thinks it's cool? And what if baseball is nothing but fun and I end up hitting a triple home run? And what if my drawing goes up on the wall and everyone thinks it's the best one of all? And what if I taste some of that food and it puts my mouth in a really good mood? And what if I run in a really big race and have a great time no matter what place? And what if I sleep and have the best dream that monsters are sweeter than they all seem? And what if the chance I take in the end is how I find my very best friend? And I say, and what if the chance I take in the end, what if the step I take next is the one that gets me to that life of fulfillment, that allows me to bring my gifts to the world? That's what I want to help clients do. I want a balance between the bank account and the soul account. And please, please, as you're working with your clients, pay attention. Help them find that balance. This is something we can work together on. Okay? Finding that balance. Again, because we need all of them. We need all of you showing up every day in the world. Okay? So I'll close, and then I'm gonna close out of this so I can be full screen and we can chat. But I want to close with, we as choosers have the right to choose, but once the choice is chosen, the choice controls the chooser. So we need to choose wisely. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing, if I have the ability to do that, with how we pasted this together behind the scenes. Here we go. Stop presenting. Here I am. All right. So talk to me, ladies and man. What is it that you can best help your clientele with when it comes to making that transition beyond financial responsibility? What is it? Thank you, Taryn. Yeah, okay, yeah. Put your questions in the chat, please. Okay. What can I help you with? Where are you who make them aware? Okay. Oh, yeah. All right. It's in the chat. Ask me, how can I help you help your clients? What makes you nervous about them getting into that transition, getting into that space? Anybody? Bueller. Oh, clients may need help with the rest of the heart and soul stuff. Yeah, you bet. Absolutely. And it can be an icky place to be. Now, I'm going to kind of, I'm going to put you all in a bucket here, which isn't fair. However, most of the time, experience with financial planners is you need to focus on getting them where they need to be. And the emotional stuff can be a little, oh, I don't know. Yeah, now what do you want to do? Absolutely right. You're financially aware and you're ready. Now what do you want to do? Great comment, Cindy. What do you want to do? You're financially set. And some of you, if you registered early enough, you got this towel in your packet. What is good right now? That's a great place to start. Asking your clients, what is good right now? And then I go to, hey, what's good tomorrow? All right, so Lisa, how do you approach the subject when your client is a black and white thinker? It's either good or bad. Oh, well, okay, start here. What's good right now? Okay. And I even say, where do you start is, what have they been dreaming about? Okay. What have you been dreaming about? When you make the next move, what will get you up in the morning and you go, this feels great? They need to talk through it. And it's going to take time because it's kind of like it reminds me of, I watched the guys just sanding our floor for our remodel. They did the first sand. It was still kind of rough. They did the second sand. It was smoothing out. They did the third sand. They go, okay, we're down where it's rough enough where we're going to put the finish on. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have to dig with them. Gonna have to dig with them. All right, what other questions do you have around how do you broach the topic with your clients? How about how early do you start talking about transition with your clients? Okay, let me put that in the chat. How early do you start talking about transition? How early? Let's see what we got here. Oh, day one. Wouldn't that be something? But wait a minute, day one, that means their dream, their visions, their transition may change throughout the year. And that's okay. You work it with them. Once they start talking about the dream, then they get moving. Yeah, Taryn says at least 5 years prior. I would agree. My experience has shown it takes better part of a year for some people that have been in deeply rooted in an industry or discipline for a long time to get their head wrapped around what's next. Cindy Bong says never too early, but within 10 years of their target. I would agree with that as well. We've seen it start transitioning, start talking about what's next. Take them out of their head, get them into their heart brain and their gut brain. Oh, yeah, and Cindy says, and you need to come back to it. Yeah, this is not a one and done, ladies and gentlemen. Not a one and done. Got to keep visiting it. It's not a one and done with their financials either. Got to keep coming back to it. So Taryn's reposting. Okay, how do you approach the subject when your client is a black and white thinker? It's either good or bad. Well, I would start with the questions, either good or bad. And start asking them and sticking with the good. I, as a coach, it's easy for me to bring it to their attention and say, hey, I notice there's a trend here that everything is bad, that, things aren't going to work. Talk to me. What's good right now? What's good in your life? What excites you? So I got a couple minutes. I want to share this story because it's, as a coach, it's a phenomenal story. I love it. And it's an example of individuals. So in 2018, a friend of mine said, hey, there's a Fortune 400 CEO locally that wants an executive coach. Throw your name in the hat. So I threw my name in the hat. I was one of 5 called to meet with this individual, and it had 30 minutes. I walked in, introduced ourselves. We got talking. Within 10 minutes, I could tell he was not interested. So I said, okay, let's just stop here. What's not working here for you? He looked right at me and he said, I want an executive coach. I don't want a life and leader coach. I said, okay, so this isn't going to work. Let's just both get 15 minutes back on our calendar. I said, thanks for your time. And as I turned to leave, I said, I want to leave you with one thought. Every leader is rooted in a person, and every person is rooted in a life. Therefore, I coached you, the person. You take what you know and you step into your role as CEO. If we coach you in the role, we will not be successful. Said, but have a great time. And if you don't find an executive coach, I've got many that I can resource to you. February. April, my phone rings. I look at it. I don't recognize the number. And you've got that quick. Do I answer or do I not? I answered it. It's this gentleman. He goes, "Hey, Krista." I go, "Well, how are you?" He goes, "Good." He goes, "Hey, I've been thinking that I want to get together with you." He goes, "When can you come to Milwaukee?" And I said, "Hey, let's do it this way. This time, why don't you come to the beautiful Lake Country?" He goes, "I'll buy you a coffee." I go, "Buy me a tea and you got a deal." 2 weeks later, we're sitting facing each other at Birch and Banyan Coffee in Heartland. And a lot of small talk. Finally, I said, "Okay, why are we here?" He said, "Well, Krista, I still don't have an executive coach. And every time I talk to my wife about this, I guess I was bringing your name up." And she finally said, "Who's this Krista woman?" He goes, "Well, she's a life and leader coach, and I need an executive coach." And he said, as every strong woman would do, she looked me in the eye and she goes, "You're an idiot. Hire her." He goes, "So I'm here to hire you." There's the background. The story is he had been a CEO for years. When he graduated high school, he had a dream. His father said, "No, no, 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 no. You can't make any money at that. You can't be successful. You're going to college and getting a business degree." So he did. Had been a CEO for years. He goes, "Krista, I don't need any more money. If I have to be a CEO for another month, I'm going to puke. Help me get out." Well, after 7 months of coaching, he kind of disappeared. He said, "I'm good." Almost a year later, I get an email from him. He's in Arizona. Him and his wife have, at the time, they had 2 Samoy dogs. He went back to what he wanted to do when he graduated high school, was train therapy dogs. They go to the children's hospital 1 day a week, the VA hospital, and then another major hospital, 3 days a week. He said, "I'm loving life. I never knew how fulfilled I could be." Great success story. Fast forward 9 months, I get another email. They got a 3rd dog. Okay. So I tell you that story because inside of all of us is this passion to be doing something that lives a life of significance, that we are giving after getting for so many years. So let's please help our client base figure out how to transition from what they've been doing to who they really are and what they want to do and how they want to serve. I'm going to be in my booth after this. Oh, we got one more. Let me take a look. I'm going to be in my booth after this. If you want to stop in, you sure can. And again, we as choosers have the right to choose, but once the choice is chosen, the choice controls the chooser. Let's have us choose wisely in dealing with our clients. Let's help them choose wisely. So thank you very much. See you in the booth, see you in the lounge, see you at happy hour, wherever we're going next.